Hello everyone, my name is MrNJersey and welcome to my channel. In this video we are back with the build series of the new plane. In the last episode we added cool different features on there, we actually flew the plane for the first time. Now in this video we're going to be adding a couple more features, including an altitude hold system and also an autopilot system to the plane. But before we get started with this video, if you are enjoying this video, hit that like and subscribe button and don't forget the little bell icon to be notified of my upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. And while you're watching, let me know your thoughts in the comments below and what else you'd like to see in any of my future videos. So that said, let's get straight into it and get started with this video. So we're back here in the world of Stormworks and we're back at the creative base. We're going to continue with the build that we have for this new plane. Now in the last episode we went through just getting it started, getting the engines all working and actually making it fly for the first time, which was a lot of fun. So what we're going to be doing in this video is I thought we'll go and add on a altitude hold system and also go and add on a autopilot system to the actual plane itself. Once we've got those main systems on the plane, I think then it's going to be a good time to start working out all the panels, getting all that hooked up and get all the flip switches and done, and then we'll move on to I think the lure and things like that and displays and things. So let's focus on the altitude hold first. So the plane is still here, it still works really well, and we're just going to go back into the workbench and let's see if we can get the altitude hold system to work. Now you could in theory create your own altitude hold system and you could obviously download one from the workshop. It's up to you on what you want to do here. For this video and for my plane, I actually like to create my own one, and it's relatively quite straightforward in how you can do that. We're simply just going to get a Mac controller and we're just going to come in here and we're going to add a few different things that we need on it. Logic wise, we're going to need obviously our altitude in, so I'm going to do alt in, that's going to be a number. Along with that is we're going to need something to turn it on and off. It's up to you on how you want to do this, whether it's a flip switch or an on-off button. For the purpose of the testing now, I'm just going to use a simple on-off node. So that will be just there on-off, pretty straightforward and simple. And then the last thing we're going to need is going to be our pitch output. So we can go in there, we can say that's going to be our pitch out. And if you wanted to, you could, instead of having extra components, you could actually put the pitch in here. So that is another option you can also do. So we're going to do it. So we're going to get a pitch in. So it's actually going to go through this Mac controller and then into the gyro, and then it's going to control the creation. So we've got pretty much four little pieces of logic. Let's call this the NJ plane alt. Great. And we can go into the logic. I like to just separate everything out as I usually do and just make sure I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to be doing. So we're going to come here, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a PID. So we're going to get a PID controller down, pretty straightforward, and at the same time I'm going to get a switch box, just a numerical switch box. So pretty much what we're going to be doing is I'm just laying this all out so I know what's going on. So we have the on off. When we turn this on, we want the PID to turn on, and we also want it to switch the signals. Okay. If the system is off, we want our regular pitch that's coming from our seat to go straight through to our pitch out. Okay, so very basic so far that we have here. The next thing is we have our altitude in. That's going to be going to our PID controller, and that's going to be our process variable. The last thing actually I did forget to add on here, and we're just going to increase the size of our mic controller here, is the keypad input, because that's how we're actually going to enter in our altitude. So I'm just going to do alt desired. Yep, there we go, and it's going to be a number input. That way we can tell the system what we want the altitude to. You could do current, you could tell the system to hold your current altitude, that's another option, but I'm going to set it at desired altitude, like I want it to go to 100 meters and I want it to stay there. So once we have that, we can pretty much go and connect the PID here to the on, so when we turn this numerical switch box on, it's only going to allow the PID to go through. It's not going to allow our seat to go through anymore. In terms of the configuration for the actual PID itself, I'm going to start off with a very basic 0.01. The I or integral is going to be 0.0001, and let's go with a D of 1 derivative gain. Okay, so very basic so far. I am going to save this and we're going to call it the NJ plane alt. Great, and we have that in. We can close that off. We can go into here. Let's go and get it. So let's go and find it. So it's the NJ plane alt. There we go. There we go. NJ plane alt. That's what we want. I'm going to put it here at the top just for now, and let's make it orange just so I don't forget about it. So let's connect the stuff that we need. We need an altitude sensor. I think I've already got one over here somewhere. Let's just check. Let's see. Yep, I have an altitude sensor just over there, so we can get that connected up to our alt in. We also have our alt side. I have a keypad just over here. I'm going to make sure that's got electric actually. So small keypad, give it some electric. Yeah, cool. Happy with that. What else do we need? We need to get the pitch, and that's coming from our seat, so that will be our WS. So let's see, WS, there we go. Got that connected, and we need on off, so let's use number 4 on our keypad for now. I will change that to a flip switch eventually. And then we have the out, so that can go straight into our gyro, so we have the pitch there. Perfect, so very quick and easy settings. Let's just go and test it. So we can go and spawn that in. Let's go and just test it on the ground to start off with, just to make sure the systems are working. So we're going to turn our gyro on. We're going to tell it that we want to be at, let's say, 100. And ideally, if we switch it on, we should see everything move. So let's press 4. Okay, so that's telling it to go down. We don't want it to go down. We want it to go up. So that is incorrect then. So we can go back into our mic controller. Let's go over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to just take all of this and we're going to invert the number that's coming from our actual PID. So there's different ways we could have done this, but I'm just going to use a function block over here. Let's get that connected, and I'm just going to tell it to -x. Okay, pretty simple. That's how you invert a number. We're going to update that again. Let's go and spawn it in. We could also clamp it, so we don't get like a dramatic, huge influx. And I might actually do that. Let's just test it again. Let's go and put 100, and let's turn all the systems on. Yep, and okay, so you can see now it's trying to raise. Great. Let's clamp it. Let's just make sure that it's not going to go crazy and it's going to make us do loop-de-loops. So once again, I am going to use a clamp block. So we could use a function block, and that's what I was hesitating about, but now we'll use a clamp. So let's go and clamp what's coming out of there, and we're going to clamp it from, let's do -0.3 to +0.3. Just for now, let's see how that works. We don't know. It might be too bad. It might be too good. Who knows? We could also even adjust the PID if we wanted to make it a little bit more slower. But there's different ways of doing it. So let's leave it like that. Let's actually go and give it a flight, and let's see how it's going to work. So we're just going to take off like we would normally do. So I'm just going to jump in the seat here. Let's get our throttle up, systems on. Let's get our starters on. Cool, engines are started. Yep, there we go. Throttle's all the way up, and in theory we should just be able to go and increase our propellers. Take off here. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Nice, quick, easy takeoff. Let's go and put a altitude of about 100. Now, I might actually add a dial in here just so I can monitor it. But let's go and put that in. Let's go and enable the altitude hold. So press 4. And that's pretty good, actually. Okay, we're getting a little bit of wobble here, so I'm probably going to decrease the sensitivity on it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that so far. It looks like it's holding its altitude. I could be wrong, once again. Let's go and increase it to, let's do 200. Okay, so it is on 200. Is it going up? Is it going down? So it doesn't look like it's really doing anything. Yep, there we go. You can see now it's going up a bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to remove the clamp so I can just actually get that PID working as I want it to work. Because at the moment I can't really tell what it's doing because I think I've clamped it too much, to be fair. So let's bring it back into the workbench. I'm just going to remove the... Let's go to the clamp here. Let's clamp it one by one. So -1 and 1. And let's just test it there and let's see how that's going to work. So we're just clamping into 1 to 1 and let's see how it will react to that. We're going to jump back in it. We're going to get everything started. Engines on. Yes, happy days. Close the door. Let's get our altitude set to, let's do 100 to start off with again. Let's go and take off. Nice short landing here. Okay, and let's go and enable it. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Let's go and change it to 200. Yep, there we go. Going up to 200. So actually changing that clamps helped it quite a lot. I'm actually really happy with that. Let's just change to 1,000. Let's just see what we're gonna get. Because I'm always worried that if you don't clamp it, you will get a plane where it will just want to do barrel rolls because it thinks that it can go up. But I think it's because we're going through the gyro. We are getting quite a nice, yeah, really nice sensitive and yeah, nice damped little pitch there. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm not going to do any changes to that. I'm going to leave it as is because I'm actually really happy with how that altitude hold is working on the plane. The next thing is the autopilot. So once again, different options we have. I know that there's a lot of amazing autopilots on the workshop already. Now, I always have my go-to autopilot that I use for pretty much every creation, whether it's a train, a car, a bus, a boat, a helicopter. I always use the same one. And the one I use is going to be the fully configurable one, and if I'm correct, this one is by Tajan. I could be wrong, but I'm 100%, almost 100% sure it is. So we're going to grab that. We're going to go and place it on the creation, and we're actually going to modify it. Funny enough, we're going to go in it, and I'm just going to go and increase the size of it. There is a reason behind this. I'm going to add some things onto it. So the first thing I want to add on is I'm going to add on my controls from my seat. Okay, so I'm going to get composite, and that's going to be in, and that's going to be from my seat. Okay, so that's what I'm going to get through there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my outputs. I'm going to add one output number for steering. Okay, actually I think I've already got one. No, yeah, I do. I already have a steering, so I don't need that one, so I can get rid of it. And I would like one for my roll. Okay, so I don't know how this is going to be. This is the first time I'm actually adding roll to an autopilot, but we'll see how it works. So we're going to output of roll. That's perfect. I'm happy with that. What else do we need? I think that's pretty much about it. We can play around with it a few more times. Is there any way to activate this? Yes, so we need some way to turn it on and off. So let's get, once again, a input, yeah, on off, and let's do on off. Okay, perfect. So we got all those controls. Great. Let's go to the logic. Let's see what's going on here. Now there's a few things we don't really need, so I'm going to just kind of mess around with this a little bit. The most important thing to me is the steering. That's what I want out of it. I don't care about throttle, to be honest. I'm going to leave the throttle as is. ETA I don't really worry about just yet at the moment. Okay, so there's a few things that I want and a few things I don't want. The first thing is we need to tell the system to either switch between our seat controls or this autopilot that's actually controlling the steering at the moment. And how we're going to do that? Once again, we're going to go and use some switch boxes. I'm going to use some numerical switch boxes, and I'm actually going to take 2 of them for this example. Okay, so we're going to go and use the switch boxes. When we activate the switch boxes, it's going to go and switch to the autopilot, and when it's off, it's going to just use normal mode. Okay, we don't need to turn any of these things on. It doesn't look like. Let's see if there's any. No, there's nothing we need to really turn on in here, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so the next thing is we need to decrypt our composite so we can actually read the values from it. So we're going to go down, we're going to get a read, and we're going to do 2 read numbers. 1, 2. We're going to read number 1 and number 3. Number 3 is going to be our, actually wait, no, so number 1 is our roll and number 3 is our yaw. Okay, so we're going to go and take that. We're going to tell the system, okay, that's our steering. So when the system is on, it's going to get that, and when it's off, it's going to get the seat, which is the yaw. And then we're going to do something with our actual roll in a few seconds, and the steering is going to then go over here, get that connected, and we're going to do the same thing with the roll, which in theory I actually haven't connected yet. I still need to build something into this microcontroller, but I want to just test this at the beginning to make sure this system is working that I've added onto it. So I'm just going to update it, and we're just going to check that we have all of the stuff that we need for this. So the first thing is something turn it on and off. Let's use 5 from our seat. We have the roll, which is going to go down to our roll here. We have, what else do we have? We have our bearing, we don't need. We have our distance, we don't need yet. ETA, we don't need yet. Ready, we don't need yet. Steering, I do need. That's going to be my yaw. Okay, we have compass input, which is, I have a compass over here, so I'm going to use that. We have X position, which is over there on my GPS block. Let's connect the Y at the same time. We have our X target. I have a keypad just up here. I'm going to use A, and then B is going to go to the Y target. Cool, and that's pretty much about it for what I need. I also need to connect my composite, so let's get our seat data and connect that over to there, and then we don't need any raw data out. I'm happy with that. Let's make sure we have electric to the compass sensor. Okay, we've got that, and electric to our GPS block at the same time. Okay, and yeah, I think that's about it. Let's go and just test it out. Let's go and see if that's going to work or not. Now, I've actually got a waypoint already set up, so we can go and use the same waypoint. So let's get it started up. So we'll get our throttle up, systems on, let's get everything turned on. Cool. Let's use our altitude hold of 100, and then we'll set the waypoint, and we'll turn the systems on in a few seconds. So let's get everything on. Let's get up in the air. Looks good. Let's get our altitude hold on. Okay, altitude's on now. Happy with that. Let's activate our autopilot. So doesn't look like anything is really happening. Seems like it wants to go up for some reason. So I'm just going to go and bring this back into the workbench and just make sure I connected everything up to the right connections. So we have our seat data going in, which is fine. And then we have our output of our steering, which is going to our yaw. And yeah, that's pretty much about. And then where is our roll? Roll is going to roll. That's fine. It's then coming out. It's inverting some things. This is going over to my steering over there. So that should actually all be working as far as I can see. Our on-off is there. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's just double check everything. We can see steering multiply is 5. We could probably increase that to about 10. A minimum throttle for steering, possibly because I don't have throttle on. That could be an issue. So let's put that to 0. Distance hold, let's do 50, let's do 30. Acceleration time, leave it as acceleration 1 is fine. Throttle limit 1 is fine. Okay. So let's just test that out now, assuming that we just modified those settings a little bit. As I said, this autopilot is meant to be used for a boat. As I said, I use it for pretty much everything. So let's get everything turned on again. Let's set this to 100. Let's get our alt and our waypoint. Let's get this on. Get the engine started. Let's take off here. Cool, nice and smooth takeoff. Let's clear the mountain range. Let's get our alt hold on. And let's now test the autopilot again. So 5. There we go. That's better. It's now turning. And we could probably decrease that sensitivity on that yaw possibly, just to make it a little bit less sensitive. But it's working, which is perfect. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to decrease the multiplier on the autopilot, and then I'm going to try and see if we can get some type of roll action happening. So to do the roll, as I said, I've never done this before, so this is actually kind of like a little bit of a test for me. I'm going to take what we have for our steering and I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use that for our roll. So I'm going to use a clamp. I'm going to clamp that value that's coming out of our steering, and I'm going to send it over to our roll. And the value I'm going to clamp, let's do 0.03 and 0.3. We'll see how that is. If it's too much, or actually let's do 0.5. Let's see how that works. So literally I'm just using the steering, and I'm going to actually use that for roll now. So let's go and update that. Confirm, and let's go and spawn that in, and let's just see how that's going to happen. If it does anything, if it doesn't do anything, if it goes and rolls the plane, I'll be really happy, to be honest. Just put all our details in again, and our waypoint. Let's get our throttle up, engine on. Great, everything's started. Let's go and take off here. Nice short takeoff again, nice and smooth. Let's get our altitude hold. Let's get our autopilot on. Look at that. Okay, so it's digging down ever so slightly, but I'm really happy with that. It's got a nice roll to it. Ah, that's quite nice. And it's gonna go and straighten itself. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. We actually probably don't even need the steering, to be honest. We could probably just do, yeah, we do need the steering. We could probably limit the steering to come out so it's not so harsh when it's turning. Let's just do a new one here. So you can see it's really quite harsh on that yaw. But the roll, I'm actually pretty happy with that roll. So what I'm going to do is let's bring that back into the workbench and let's go and clamp down that yaw. I'm just going to grab another one of these and let's clamp that yaw value. Yeah, I think that's good. So we're going to clamp it. Let's do 0.3 clamp on the steering, and let's see how much of a difference that's going to make. I might clamp it more, to be fair, but let's just see how that works. I'm thinking actually of just like clamping it completely, because I was pretty happy with that roll, and I would prefer it to roll than for it to use the yaw. I'd like just a slight little amount of yaw there. But yeah, let's just see how it goes. So 100 there, let's get our waypoint, which is like on the other side. Let's go and take off. Oops, looks like one of our engines wasn't turned on. So let's go and spawn that in again. Jump over to the plane. Then once we have these basic systems done, then it's pretty much just having fun with screens and flip switches, to be honest, because mostly everything else is done. So let's get that on, let's get that turned on, systems on, engines on, check both of them actually turned on this time. And great, let's get our waypoints in, let's take off here. Cool. And yep, that's nice and up now. Cool, let's get our altitude hold. Let's get our autopilot, so 5. There we go, that's pretty better, that's much better. Now it's actually banking, we're getting a very little bit of yaw. I personally would probably like a little bit of pitch on that, because it looks like we are dropping altitude. I could be wrong, to be fair, but it looks like, yeah, I'm really happy with that. Nice and smooth. Oh, that is cool. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Yep. Cool. So that is the autopilot done. That is the altitude hold done. Nice and easy, not complicated at all. Had a little bit of fun with it, doing the banking instead of the actual yaw there. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. I don't know what it's actually going to do here once it gets within distance. I think it's just going to turn the autopilot off and it's just going to carry on. Actually, no, it won't, because I haven't configured anything to do that. It's going to continue just doing circles around that target, or it should. Yep, it's going to do circles around that target. But yeah, so I think the next episode we'll start getting flip switches. We'll get some displays on then, maybe some glass displays from, I think, Jay Baker, if I'm correct. We'll have a look on the workshop and see what we can find for that. But yeah, you guys let me know in the comments below what you thought of this video. Did you like the autopilot? Did you like the altitude hold? I thought it was quite easy and simple to get done and quite quick, but a lot of fun at the same time, and seeing a plane do this kind of roll, best thing in the world, I think. But yeah, let me know what you want done in the next episode, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and found some entertaining and informative as always, and we'll see you in the next one.